My name is Marco. I'm grade 12. I'm currently taking IBDP Visual Arts higher level.
Okay, and now we dive into your theme. What is the VIVANT theme?
So before I explain further about my theme, I want to talk about a little bit on how I get to that theme. So going back to 2 years ago, I didn't envision myself pursuing visual arts in my IBDP journey. So, but when the circumstance didn't support that, I was kind of forced to take visual arts. And fast forward a little bit, during the creation of the theme, I kind of reflect on my situation. On one side, I don't want to take arts, but the other side, I have to because I'm pursuing my diploma, right? So that's when I realized, that's when it clicked to me that I am only living my life. That's how living life was born. And later on, I translated to French, Vivant la vie, because I want to portray that, I want to create a contrast between the word Vivant la vie, which sounds bright and colorful, with the theme, with my artwork, which is leaning more on the dark side of life, which is more realistic. And that's how Vivant la vie was born.
Okay, so that's what we want to learn for you. Now, how is connected with the exhibit area that you have there?
So I put my artwork in a way that it shows progression from dark to light, and I want the audience to experience how the journey of my journey and also the character's journey in my artwork goes from the bottom to being able to overcome the challenges that is given by the life itself.
Do you want to dive in more into the first artwork, or you continue with the order?
Let's go to the next, the first artwork. So my first artwork is called Changed by Words. This portrays my emotion when when I just take visual art. I felt like I'm falling endlessly, and I used specifically a female figure with blue-white dress to portray vulnerability and purity, while the red portrays chaotic, my internal chaos and the external chaos that happens around me. While the chain and the words, hence the name Changed by Words, portrays how I define myself based on the things that other people say that I am. So the next artwork, it's a continuation of the first artwork. After you fell, of course, you go to a deeper place, and it's called A Dark Place. A Dark Place is actually one of my recent artwork. And the reason why I just thought of making this artwork is because after 2 years, I realized that though some of our life aspect can improve, it doesn't really necessarily mean that the overall of our life will be better, right? So in this artwork, I use digital medium, and I want to portray the mental and physical strain that the challenges of life have impacted, how it impacted me.
So for the next one, what do we have here?
So this is my comparative study. It was also my first digital artwork. For this artwork, I was heavily inspired by one of my artists, which is Jiewei Shou. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. But I portray my regrets, hence the name Regret. Specifically, you can see some achievement that I achieved in the past, and also the temptation that I faced, as represented by the three figures. And the figure that's facing this way is a reflection of myself during the time and how I felt at the time. The figures represent sloth, lust, and procrastination. And this specifically, and this artwork as a whole, specifically saying that I abandon my long-term goals for short-term happiness. Yes.
So the next one, what is this installation about?
So this installation is a step back for when I'm experiencing this. I question myself: am I in control? Why do I want to be in control, or maybe what aspect of life that I can control? And this gives me a broader perspective on life and what are the things that I can actually do and not do. This artwork uses many materials, some of which are clay for the mannequin, and there are some digital aspects for the eyes and also wire for the hands. I created this artwork specifically in three-dimensional because I want it to have an irregularity from my first three artworks. So this audience can take a step back, as I mentioned before, and actually understand fully what the artwork is actually saying.
So you want it to be more
Yes.
Okay, so we have next, so like a comic.
So this one is a progression from the previous artwork where the character is taking action to face the things that he have regret in the past. In the first panel, the reason why I display it in such a way where I separate each panel individually is because every panel tells a little bit of a story in the progression of the character's life. In this artwork is inspired by one of the artwork, Thomas Seyman, and I want to portray the anguish and the hopelessness of the character that is facing challenges that seem impossible to face, as you can see in the last panel, which is on the bottom right, where the challenges seem so gigantic that he felt like nothing against that challenges.
Moving forward to the big installation you have there.
So this installation is actually my biggest artwork, and it's one of the most challenging artwork because I didn't know how to actually, put things together, although I was able to make it digitally, but yeah. This title is called Everything's Under Control, and by this artwork, I want to reflect my beliefs that there is a higher power controlling every single aspect of our life. As you can see, there are strings attached to each artwork, and that represents that this higher power is in control of the dark place that we've been through, the progression and the realization, as well as later on the results of the journey.
Okay, moving forward with the digital painting again.
So this one is the enlightenment of the character, where he realized that there is possibility and he is able to conquer the challenges that he faced in the past, also as well as getting over the regret. This artwork is heavily inspired by Kikoa, color-wise, because I want to create an effect where it felt like there is wind blowing into the face of the subject, as well as the mystical, yeah, mystical coloration to represent the enlightenment that he has experienced.
Okay, so this is the last.
Yes, this is the last of my artwork. It's called Bloom Like a Flower. This artwork, if you realize, the character in this last artwork is the same character in the first. And this shows, this represents redemption, and the flower represents the success. And if you look closely in the background, there is a pillar which shows, which represents ascension. And without the first artwork, the ascension part of this artwork does not really make sense, because where does she ascend from?
Okay, so final closing statement. What do you want the audience to actually experience and take away from your exhibition?
So, from my exhibition, I want the audience to be able to reflect on their journey in their life individually. Maybe they're in a dark place, or maybe they have already been being enlightened, or maybe even they have bloom like a flower. And I just want to make this one statement. Life does not begin when in a dark place, but it begins when you start questioning whether you're in control and taking action upon it. That concludes my exhibition. Thank you.
Thank you. For the Q&A session. Sophie, do you have any question? Yes, of course.
Ada student first, no, from grade 12. Boys, you wanna comment?
Yes, good question, Lucas. Would you mind saying it to the mic this time? Hi, Marco. I'm quite intrigued by your artwork with the clay mannequin and the hands, the 3D one. Could you elaborate a bit more of what the eyes and the hand signifies, as well as how the wired hands have a meaning? Thank you.
All right, that's a good question. I didn't explain that. Yeah. So the mannequin represents oneself. It can be you, it can be me. It depends on what you interpret it as. The eyes represent peer pressure, and the hands it represents that you're being in control, but not physically, but more to your mentally. That's why I use wire to represent that it's intangible. The title, this meaning connects to the title, "Am I in Control?" Because this character question, this character question whether they are actually in control of their life, or are they just following the norms, quote norms, of people today, like us teenagers. Maybe there is some types of norms. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Hi Marco, I think Lucas still my question. Okay, when I enjoy your explanation and your artwork, I remember we talked about the last one, the hands from this one, the big hands. I think the title is everything is under control, right? I really like, because seems like there is a story. I think this is the last artwork that you done, finished, and wow, when I stand under those two hands, I feel like, wow, very strong emotion. My question is, I want you to explain the first artwork that we enjoy when we enter your booth is the title is Changed by Words, right? I really like that, because you kind of like describe what teenagers nowadays facing because of the word that they get from their friends, or the comment that they get about themselves. How can you connect that first artwork changed by the word, and then you talking about from dark to the lights, and then can you connect that with the two big hands, because you mentioned that this is God's hands, that we all under God's hand control, and for me that's a very good and strong message. Can you elaborate that a bit? Thank you.
So your question is, how does it connect the two artworks? Okay. So the first artwork is the beginning of I guess, destruction, I guess. Because when you start to compare or define yourself with other people, of course, you wouldn't be happy, naturally. And, well, in hindsight, it might look like you're falling and you're in a dark place. It might also be part of God's plan to actually improve yourself by you comparing yourself with others and you later on taking action upon it. So that's how this two artwork connects with each other.